Hello everybody, Ian, Starship Adventures. Today, an update on the UV-25. As you guys know, weeks ago, I put out a review on it, and it's gotten more hits than any of my other review videos, and there's a lot of interest in this radio. And there's a lot to talk about. So I want to go ahead and just give a quick update video today. There will be a third update video coming eventually that will have all of my wattages and stuff on my tests. I'm going to borrow some equipment so I can make some really good tests with this thing, and we'll be offering that in a later video. All of the original tests I did show that the radio puts out what they say it puts out within the amateur band. But we're going to get more specific in a future video. Today, though, I do want to address a couple things. I want to start out by saying that the reviews on this from all the people that have wrote into my chat room and also some other providers that I watch, the reviews are pretty good on this radio, actually very good. And for a Chinese radio, the reviews are good. I have several people I know of have these. I have one myself right here. I've been carrying it around daily. I tried different antennas on it. I've got the little short one. A lot of what we do around here is UHF, and this one works pretty good. I've got several variations of the Baofeng and Quansheng VHF, UHF antennas. And then I also have some longer ones here. I find these not to be much better than what came with your radio. Everybody seems to gravitate towards these kind of antennas, and I find that they're not much better than what actually is paired with your radio. And then I've got some tactical folding 48-inch antennas. I've got a bunch of different antennas. We are planning to go out with this and about 5 other radios, and we're going to be doing some range testing, and we'll be providing that in yet another video. So this radio will be featured in another video coming up where we're going to do some range testing with all this using different antennas on the same radio with the same receiver at the same distance to try to see which antenna has the best performance. So look out for that video when it comes. Now, I want to talk about this particular radio. It comes in 2 models. This is something I really didn't know back when I put out the original video. I wasn't really sure exactly how it worked. Basically, the versions that they have most popular is the 10-watt version and the 11-watt version. The key difference to these versions that I can tell is the 11-watt only receives 220. The 10-watt transmits and receives on 220. That's really the only difference. Mine is the 10-watt version, yet on some ham frequencies I'm getting 11 watts out of it. So I'm not sure if it's something they did with the way they had to put it or so. I don't know. I don't know why it is. But the 10-watt version can talk on 220, and the 11-watt version, most of those cannot. So it has something to do with the way they put the firmware in it or whatever. Watch out. Make sure you get what you want. You know, I personally believe they all put out about the same amount of power, but for some reason they call those the 11-watt version that does not transmit on 220. So I'm just putting that out there. I pinned that comment because so many people had that question on these. Why is there 2 versions? What's the difference? It's important to note that 220s have power, so you're not going to get 11 or 10 or 9 watts on 220. It's not going to happen. It's going to be closer to 5 watts. But I haven't tested it. When we get that testing done, I will let you know. The testing I've seen online, it does put out the 5 watts and 220 in the amateur bracket. One negative I found, and you guys know about me, I love these Chinese radios, and I'm very positive about them. However, the one thing that that I will mention about this, if I see negative things, I will mention them. And the one negative about this is the menuing system in here is everything's in white on a dark blue screen, and it's pretty easy to read when you go through the channels and when it's frequencies, the numbers are really big and they're really easy to read. When it's your channel name, it's a little smaller, but it's still easy to read. However, when you hit the menu button, as I'm going to do right here, when you hit the menu button, the menu pops up down here on the bottom of the screen. And you can see as I go through the menu, You can't even really see it, but there's letters in there. See it? So the problem comes up as if you're out in the bright sun and you have to go into the settings menu, you're going to have a problem because it's very hard to read that outside. That's just a very minor thing that I found that is a negative to the radio. Another negative is the antenna. It's a positive and a negative. It's a high gain specialty antenna that seems to work pretty good. They say it's 2.5 dBi gain. I tend to believe that using it, it does outperform all my other antennas by far that work on this kind of radio. So that tells me right there that it does perform well. This actually in a unofficial test performed better than my folding 48-inch tactical antenna. So it does seem to perform well, especially on 2 meters, and so there you go. Now, the bad part about this antenna, okay, you can't carry it around like a casual radio. First of all, it's the size of a brick, which I personally like. I was in public safety for many, many years, and we carried radios this big the whole time I was in public safety. I feel at home when I have this radio in my hand. I love this radio. The antenna, on the other hand, makes carrying it around as a daily practice nearly impossible. And what you need, it's great when you want to sit it somewhere and turn the antenna up and use it like a little mini base radio, or, it's great when you're outside and you're standing on top of a mountain and you're trying to reach a station that's far away. This is a great antenna. It's absolutely amazing, but not made for daily use. It just isn't. So what I've done is I went and I've gathered up all kinds of different antennas. And as I mentioned earlier, I have the short one for 220. It goes right on there. And let me tell you what, it's a neat little radio with a little antenna on it. It's really easy to carry around, not that bad. And I also use some of the mid-range antennas. This one is a UV-5R antenna, and it seems to actually do pretty good on here. It does not, the performance isn't as good as the tube antenna, obviously, but it's pretty good. All right, so that's that. The next thing, the desk charger. We mentioned the desk charger in the original video. The desk charger does not exist. It was printed. It's 3D printed. I'm working on getting the vectors for that so that I can get them out to you guys for those that have 3D printing equipment, because that's literally all you need to do is 3D print the thing, because it's a USB-C charging standard, so that it doesn't need to be built into the charger. Okay, there is drop-in contacts down here, but I've yet to find a charger, a drop-in charger for this radio. It may be something they'll come out with later. But you can plug it into the USB-C charging standard and stick it down in a base that's on the right angle for you that you print with your own 3D printer. And that's pretty much where we're at with that. Hopefully, if someone starts producing them, I'll put out something on that as well. The next thing I want to talk about was I did one time, it wouldn't transmit. It would just beep when I tried to transmit. And I removed the battery and put it back on, and that reset it. That was after 3 weeks of almost continuous screwing around in operation and talking on it and trying different repeaters, and it finally did kind of give an error of some kind, and all I had to do was reset it by pulling the battery out. So there you go. And so I have found this to be an amazing radio. Now, I just want to mention here at the end of the video, we're getting close here. I just want to mention real quick, I am real tired of the Chinese radio splaining. I mentioned it at the beginning. There's a lot of people out there that just hate Chinese radios. It doesn't matter. I had a guy that said he bought one and it fell all apart. I don't buy that, not for a minute, because when someone tells me they bought a radio and within the first week it falls apart, the very next question I asked them was, did you return it? And if they say no or they didn't return it, I don't buy it, because especially Amazon, I would not buy any radio unless I can buy it from Amazon, because Amazon has a better return policy than even the ham radio shops do. You no matter what, you get it and you just don't like it, you can send it back. So to me, that seems to be the better option for anyone out there that wants a safe purchase, would be to purchase from someone that's going to give you a full refund if you don't like it. Okay. I never send one back just because I don't much like it or whatever. But if it doesn't work, by God, it gets sent back. I don't like accepting broken equipment. And this one has been really good, and I really am not buying it. What it is you've got a lot of folks out there that just don't like Chinese equipment. Some of them will use the excuses of spurious transmissions. That was a problem earlier. Chinese radios were having quite a bit. Another person will mention how they're garbage. They fall apart. They don't work. The batteries are crap. They don't last. That's not been my experience. I find the batteries in the Chinese radios seem to last just as long and do just as well as the ones in the Japanese radios or the American slash Mexican made radios. So I'm not really buying any of that. I think a lot of it just is geopolitics. I think people, they get involved in their head in the geopolitics, and they want to start with, hey, they don't treat their labor properly. They make children work in factories. Da, 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 da. I don't police the other side of the world. They offer these products in our market. Our country allows them to do it, and I buy them. Okay, how they're made is up to their country and how they run things in their country. They've decided to do things the way they do them over in China, and we're not going to change that. Okay, the Chinese radios have been a revolution for a dying hobby called ham radio. And for anybody out there that believes that the Chinese radios are damaging ham radio, you're deluded. You have no idea what you're talking about or thinking. Okay, I'm telling you. Because the biggest problem we have in ham radio is that people get into ham radio and they can't afford it. What's funny is I notice all the rich people that get in ham radio lose interest. All the poor people that get in ham radio, they love it for the rest of their life, and they can never really do it because they don't have any money. And it really bugs me when I see this, but I see it very common that there's a lot of people that have less means, and they're constantly shamed because they purchased a Chinese radio. Well, I got news for you folks. Chinese are getting into the HF market now. They are releasing their first HF radios. Baofeng's getting into the repeater business. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of big stuff. And I think before long, you're going to start seeing Chinese repeaters going online over here, and Chinese duplexers, and all kinds of Chinese antennas and equipment. And so brace yourselves, folks. It's not just going to be the little portable 2 meter 70 SEMS rigs anymore. It's actually going to be everything is going to be coming out of there. And what that's going to do is continue to drive the prices down. You know, the prices of Yazoo and ICOM and Kenwood and Motorola, the prices, well, maybe not as much Motorola, but the first three, the prices of their ham radio equipment has been dropping for 3 or 4 years. Not going up, but dropping. The portable radios, you can now buy Yazoo portable radios for a couple $100. That's because the Chinese have come into the market and they've drove the prices down. And that's so important to know how this works. We didn't need to be paying $800 for that radio. We were paying that because they could get it. And that's the bottom line. Competition and free markets, they win every time. And what we're seeing here is the result of free markets. So if you stay out of the geopolitics and you let each country run their country the way they want to run it, look at things as a libertarian, look at things as how things affect you, go get you a Chinese radio and embrace it, because I'm going to tell you something, they're great radios. These new ones that are coming out are quality equipment. Even the latest generation of the UV-25 is a damn good radio. TYT, Radioddity, a lot of these radios all come out of the same group of factories. They're all great radios. So if you can put all the geopolitics aside and just look at the radio for what it is and how it will affect you and your life and your plan for the future, you'll find that you're better off purchasing more of these Chinese radios that do more things, and using those in the future. And I think the people out there that just can't get past the fact that it's a Chinese radio, that's fine. Just do me a favor. Stay out of my comments with your bullcrap, because I get really tired of people coming in my comments and saying my Chinese radio fell apart, when we all know that the radio did not break into pieces unless you threw it on the ground like that one idiot did, or it's you got 1 in a million. I don't know what to tell you. So I have a hard time believing when 150 people tell me they bought one of these and they love it. And I got two guys telling me that it's complete garbage. There's spurious transmissions everywhere. It only puts out half the wattage that they say. I've already proven most of all that wrong. And I'm going to prove the rest of it wrong before it's over. Okay? So forget what the sad hams say about Chinese equipment. See, they're rich, or they've already bought all their equipment over the years, so they don't need anything right now. So they don't buy Chinese radios because they're snobby and better than that. That's fine. Quit shaming the rest of us. Quit bullying the rest of us. Chinese radios are actually really good. All right, and that's all I got to say about that. So there you go, guys. That's my thoughts. This is the UV-25 update video number 1. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to be issuing at least 1 or 2 more updates on this radio, plus some range stuff coming up. And in one of my next videos, I'm going to be exploring how to use automatic configurations in Chirp to program your radios without ever having to type in the first number. It's amazing. You can program your radio for Marine Band, FRS, GMRS, and your local repeaters for ham radio in about 5 minutes without ever typing in the first frequency. And I'm going to show you how to do it in one of my next videos. So watch out for that. That's Chirp. How to take the most advantage of Chirp. It's going to be a great video. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next one. This has been the UV-25 update video number 1. We'll see you on the next one, or down the log, or on the next adventure, or wherever it'll be. My name's Ian. This is Starship Adventures, and we are in Starship Studios in Southwest Florida. We'll see you next time.